Question number 11. Chris Hipkins.
Tēnā koe e te manga o te whare.
Tēnā koe.
Mr Speaker, my question is to the Minister of Education. Is she considering any proposals to allow schools to spend money currently committed to teaching staff on other expenses? If so, why?
The Honourable Heke Parata.
Tēnā anō koe, Mr Speaker. No, I am not considering any proposals as described by the member. However, the Funding Review Advisory Group, made up of the key teacher unions and sector associations, are considering a number of options.
Supplementary question, Mr Speaker.
Supplementary question, Chris Hipkins.
Does the bulk funding or global funding proposal outlined in her cabinet paper involve removing the existing maximum class size guarantee for primary schools?
The Honourable Heke Parata.
Mr Speaker, it would be disrespectful to the funding group to predetermine the outcomes of options that they are currently considering.
Point of order, Mr Speaker. Point of order, Mr Speaker.
No, well, I can anticipate. Why don't I just ask the member to repeat the question? It may not have been understood by the Minister.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Does the proposal for bulk funding or global funding, as outlined in her cabinet paper, involve removing the existing maximum class size guarantee for primary schools?
The Honourable Heke Parata.
Mr Speaker, the proposals that are before the Funding Advisory Group do not preclude them making recommendations on all the elements that they have in front of them. Once they have made recommendations on that element or another, then I will be considering them.
Supplementary question, Mr Speaker.
Supplementary question, Chris Hipkins.
Can she guarantee that class sizes will not increase or the range of subjects on offer decrease as a result of schools reducing their spending on teaching? If not, why not?
The Honourable Heke Parata.
Mr Speaker, no decisions have been made around the options that are in front of the Funding Advisory Group, including the particular elements the member raises.
Supplementary question, Mr Speaker.
Supplementary question, Chris Hipkins.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Why has she proposed in her cabinet paper allowing schools to use money that is currently ring-fenced for teaching staff on other expenses?
The Honourable Heke Parata.
Mr Speaker, the principles underpinning this review are greater flexibilities for schools to make choices, more and better results for students, and diversity of options for parents. Those are the principles and outcomes we're interested in. There are options before the Funding Review Group. It would be disrespectful to them and the process of consultation to make predetermined decisions.
Supplementary question, Mr Speaker.
Supplementary question, Chris Hipkins.
Can she explain any scenarios in which a school could reduce the number of teachers it employs without either increasing class sizes or reducing the number of subjects on offer? If so, what are those scenarios?
The Honourable Heke Parata.
Mr Speaker, an explanation of the kind sought by the member would be premature to the considerations of the Funding Advisory Group.
Supplementary question,
Supplementary question, Chris Hipkins.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Why has she proposed ring-fencing funding for school property maintenance in order to, quote, protect the Crown's investment in school infrastructure, end quote, whilst proposing to remove the ring-fencing of teaching staff funding? Is she really indicating that the government rates protecting property assets more highly than quality teaching?
The Honourable Heke Parata.
Mr Speaker, to the second part of the question, no.
Supplementary question, Mr Speaker.
Supplementary question, Chris Hipkins.
Will she guarantee that the level of funding schools receive under any bulk funding model will meet the cost of at least as many teaching staff as they currently have under the existing formula and any increase in operational costs? If not, why not?
The Honourable Heke Parata.
Mr Speaker, because bulk funding is not one of the options the Funding Advisory Group is being asked to consider.
Question number